There is a very big problem and confusion between Sanwo Olu, the governor of Lagos State, and the military. The military are not happy that Sanwo Olu denied inviting them. The Nigerian army has expressed its disappointment with Governor Babajide Sanwo Olu, insisting on not inviting them to intervene in the EndSARS crisis in Lagos State. Brigadier A.I. Taiwo, who shared the Nigerian Army's account of the LEKKITOLEGATE shooting or the resumed sitting of the Lagos Judicial Panel on Saturday, stated that Governor Sanwo Olu called on the military for support on October 20 after the EndSARS crisis degenerated into violence. I spoke with the governor and said the army was unhappy that he said he did not ask the army to intervene, but I'm sure after we have watched everything, we saw he had more than reasonable ground to ask the army to intervene. Perhaps it was the way everything went that made him say so. Recall that Sanwo Olu, who reacted to the outrage that trend the shooting, had blamed it on forces beyond our direct control. Also appealing on CNN, the Lagos State governor, who confirmed that the army was responsible for the incident, denied having hand in it. He said in the interview, "From the footage we could see, because there were some cameras at the facility, it seems to me that they would be men in military uniform. It should be Nigerian army or something else." When asked if he meant the military opened fire on protesters, Sanwo Olu said in response, "Yes, that's what the footage shows." Now, the armies, they are not happy that Sanwo Olu denied inviting them. They said Sanwo Olu called them to intervene, and when everything went out of control or wrong, he denied. I am going to place the interview of this Taiwo, this video you are watching now, when he was giving an account of everything that happens and the LEKKITOLEGATE and how Sanwo Olu invited them to the scene. And I'm going to also play the interview that was granted to Sanwo Olu by Sunrise Television, so that you would hear. Sanwo Olu admitted now he testified against the army, laying every blame on the army. Now the army are not happy. This is confusion. Me looking at Sanwo Olu, I don't know, nobody should come and tell me that I'm supporting him. He looks like a quiet man, a man that doesn't have problem, but the problem he has is this: it's like those people in power, in authority, they are manipulating him, they are controlling him, telling him what to do. But left for him alone, I think he is a quiet man. Some people will say that I am supporting, I'm not supporting. We will watch the two videos, you will listen to this video now properly, then I will play the interview being granted to him by Arise Television that comprises both CNN interview. Then you come to my comment section and tell me what you think about this. There is a big confusion now in Nigeria, especially among the leaders, because they have said that everything have gone out of hand. CNN is working tooth and nail to review everything that is happening in Nigeria. Now everybody is trying to, separate themselves from this, but believe me, truth cannot be hid.
Celebrity, and I'm sure you will still be insulted for this. Killed at the Lekki toll. Claim various numbers of people were reportedly killed by soldiers at the Lekki toll shooting incident on Tuesday night. In other accounts, the number ranging from 15 to 25 individuals reportedly shot dead. We fact-checked it. After a considerable detailed search of hospitals and mortuaries in the state, Governor Sanwo Olu confirmed that only one life was confirmed lost in connection to the Lekki incident. According to staff relative hospital Lekki, the death of the unnamed individual was caused by blunt force trauma. and he was on Admiralty Road. Another body with a gunshot wound was deposited in a mortuary in Yaba. An investigation is still ongoing to see if this occurred at the Lekki toll incidents. I spoke personally with the governor on this because the Nigerian army was not happy about two things. The first, his denial that he asked us to intervene, when in actual fact, it was the proper thing to even do. He called the Chief of Army Staff and called the GOC 81 Division and asked for intervention because the police had been overrun. Then two, two things. I spoke with the governor, said the army was unhappy that he said he did not ask the army to intervene. But I'm sure after we've watched everything, we saw he had more than reasonable grounds to ask the army to intervene. Perhaps it was the way everything went that made him say so. That afternoon, he had called the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC. After asking the Commander 9 Brigade to intervene, the Commander 9 Brigade could not intervene because the procedure was not followed. And asked him to call the Chief of Army Staff and the GOC.
LEKKITOLEGATE here in Lagos. In the aftermath of the attack, various new media reported that a number of the protesters were killed in the shooting incident, but the authorities have since denied such reports. There has been widespread global condemnation of the attack. And equally important is the looting and destruction that have come in the wake of those attacks. Well, as you seek answers, we are now being joined from State House Marina here in Lagos by Sanwo Olu, the Governor of Lagos State. Welcome to the program, Governor Sanwo Olu. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to have you join us on the morning show. I'm sure our viewers will be really excited to have you on the program. Very quickly, why did you call curfew for 4 p.m.
and then later shifted to 9 p.m. and then the soldiers reportedly attacked the protesters at 7 p.m. Did you consult with the army before the curfew was declared, and did you call in the army to assist?
Well, good morning once again, Ruben. Thank you very much for having me. And I also want to say good morning to your colleagues.
Yes, thank you.
So the question, why did I call curfew at 4 p.m.? Complete breakdown of law and order in several parts of the city. On Sunday, to be precise, people were coming back from church at Ikorodu, at Ebeda, and there have been mayhem. You've been attacked. You've seen hoodlums, cultists in all of these areas, in all sort of fracas. Because prior instructions have been given to the police to stand down and to stay away from any form, of protest or any form of disturbance we have in the city. Good morning. A panel which we inaugurated on Monday, right? And we believe that that panel will immediately get to work, and so that the grievances around the hashtag #SARS could immediately commence, and we can bring.
Seem to be having problems with the connection there. Mr. Governor, can you hear us? There seems to be a problem with the audio. Well, I think we just have to wait because he was already providing a background. You are back with us, Mr. Please,
yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please continue.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So by Tuesday morning, right, we have started seeing destruction, attack specifically at the police station in Orile, where we saw footage armory of the police station being infected and we saw arms being cut away from the police station. Thereafter, we saw also another police station at Ifelu, Nigerian, also being attacked all about the same time. Almost immediately, we also saw a local government headquarters in Nigerian, Ifelu, a 4-story building set ablaze. We saw about 30 to 40 vehicles. People were scrambling, people were calling, right? It was turning to a complete breakdown of law and order. We saw pictures of attempts to pandemonium, in the whole city. So I needed to consult, and my level of consultation was first with the Commissioner of Police and the members calls that I had to quickly call around, and then I decided to take the decision that I think we need to impose a curfew, in the state starting from 4 o'clock. And so the whole idea about putting the 4 o'clock there is to trigger the process of people. Luckily, we have asked that students. That was the event that led to reviewing that how are people, trying to get back home, what is the traffic situation, specifically around the Lekki Toll Plaza now. We actually got footage that at some point they had announced that everybody should go home at about 2 o'clock, that yes, we have a state curfew in the state, and by 4 o'clock, the curfew is meant to start. There are recordings to that effect. 4 o'clock, 4:15, the place will have been sort of like not living well. So at about 5:30, I got calls from several others of our opinion molders in the state, some parents, some religious leaders, and said we should actually even see how we can extend the starting of a curfew time. I said yes, it makes sense, right? And so I set out notices around 5:30 that maybe the curfew should not start until 9 o'clock. So that was how we started rolling out the communication, and the event that happened at about 7:30, it was just a total shock to me and to everyone around me. I do not know how we got into that kind of a situation, and it was just something that it was completely unbelievable. When the first call, it was actually one of my cabinet members that was with me. It was a wife that called us and said they were hearing shooting. I said, shooting where? What? He said, no, around Lekki. I said, it's not possible. And we make phone calls around. Nobody said they had sent anybody down, because the instruction is that police will not be out until 10-11 p.m. when we believe that almost every of our citizens would have gotten home. So I don't know how, they all got it all wrong or something, but it was just something that I couldn't even explain. Who gave orders, who gave instructions for military to be there? It's still something that we are investigating, and we've escalated this to the highest level in the military formation, right? And it's something that our government has totally condemned. Personally, this is not what I stand for. This is not what I believe. I've been part of the youth, the protesting youth from day one. I was the very first chief executive of a state to have joined the riots. To have joined the protesters. On Monday, I was with them. On Tuesday, you saw all of the process and all the things that I've done to ensure that we can hear them, bring them in, and continue to engage ourselves, with the protesters. It's rather very unfortunate and completely condemnable. It's something that we do not stand for as a state, and it's something that everybody still needs to continue to condemn at this point in time.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Governor. But why is the Army denying allegations that they were involved in the shootings on the Lekki Bridge in spite of overwhelming evidence?
Well, thank you, Tunu. So, Army do not report to me. I do not have any direct reporter line with the military. I have escalated this to the Chief of Army Staff, and I'm also setting up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate this. And even they doing their own investigation, we have to do our own investigation and be able to get to the root cause, or find out, who ordered this, where did it come from, who gave the instructions, so that we can indeed, put some closure to this, distance.
Wow. We lost the audio again there, it seems.
Yes, it appears that we did.
Yes, wow.
We'll try to reconnect.
He was just going to talk again about his engagement with
I can hear you.
Okay. So, okay, we're back with you. Please go ahead. We lost the audio for a moment.
Well, interesting, I hear you.
Okay.
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Thank you. So thank you. So it's something that we're not going to gloss over. It's something that we're taking very, very, very seriously. And like I said, a judicial panel of inquiry will be set up to investigate this and bring books for all Nigerians to see who or how we got to this level, we got to this stage. And I have escalated this, like I said, also to the military authorities.
Right, Mr. Governor, let's talk about deaths. People really die. How do we determine deaths and all that happened in Lekki?
Okay, so there were several footages and there were several information as into the number of people that have died and all of it. You saw my social handle and you saw the reportage that later that night at about 1:30, I went around all the hospitals that the victims, the casualties, very unfortunately, were taken to 3-4 hospitals over the night. And I personally, with my medical team, went around to ascertain and to see things for ourselves. We went around 1 or 2 mortuaries also that night, right? And yesterday morning, I made a broadcast where I did mention that as at the time I was making that broadcast, we do not have any confirmed death from that incident at Lekki. Very unfortunate incident, at the Lekki Toll Plaza. And I think thereafter, at about 11 or so, I brought out a tweet where we said there was a dead body that was brought into an hospital in Lekki early part of yesterday. And from the preliminary investigation, it was not due to any gunshot, right? This was an injury that medical personnel said it was somebody hit the body, the individual by the head, and so they needed to do a further autopsy, to determine what is the actual cause of death. And so I put up that tweet. So meaning that along the Lekki corridor, we have that incident as a death case. Also in the course of our investigation yesterday, right, we also picked up a narrative that we have a dead body that was deposited at the IDH at IDH Yaba, that's Infectious Disease Hospital in Yaba, and we found out that there's a gunshot wound on that body. So this was picked up by police in around Victoria Island, and once the body was dropped at the morgue, we went around all the morgues, and this was where we picked another one. So it might also be that this gunshot wound that was reported yesterday might also have been due to the incident of Lekki. We do not know. So in all, I would say that because of the gunshot that we see in this particular single incident that we picked up yesterday, based on the report of the morgue report, we had to go to all private morgues, all government morgues around Lagos to pick up these indices and how there were incidents at the morgue. So that we have a body that we might be able to pass around, and do further investigation today to confirm if indeed it was related to the killing in Lekki. Apart from these two incidents that I've just explained now, I do not have any other confirmed, evidence of death from that incident.
Well, Mr. Governor, incidentally, Amnesty International and some other international agencies are reporting that at least 12 persons were killed at that Lekki tollgate incident. But let me ask, how do you plan to restore authority, peace, and order? Particularly as we can see that the hoodlums are still on rampage. They wreaked havoc yesterday, and today people are still nervous. And what level of assistance, support are you getting from the federal government? Because you kept saying you have escalated this matter and that matter. What level of support are you getting to restore that?
And when I say all of us, all our citizens, all our to our all opinion molders, all our traditional rulers, all our religious leaders, everybody needs to speak out for all of these protests to stop. A one man called Mr. Governor, right? I think it's all of us that need to now speak up and speak out now, right? Everybody that has a follower, everybody that has people that looks up to them, we need to speak out now and stop this. We need to be able to restrain these children or this youth going out. Give it whatever name is arson. And so that is the conversation that we need to take forward now and be able to ourselves. As your governor, I on the land, but I that we saw. So we do not even want to keep them on the street longer than necessary. So it's really, a community-based engagement that we need to begin. Has to be at the highest level. This is the sermon that we need to take forward now, so that the agitation, the upset youth that we have, we can calm nerves down, and people can actually just pause and let us think through this very, very well. This is not Lagos. This is not who we are. This is not what our forefathers have bequeathed to us. This is not the narrative that the center of excellence, the state that all of us are indeed proud of. This is not what we stand for. Lagos, had remained the most peaceful part of this country for decades, and so we're not going to throw away what we've cherished, what we've held on to for this number of years, for this number of decades, we're not going to trade away that have happened, in our community. So I want to continue to appeal to parents, to guardians, to community leaders, to our traditional leaders, to our religious leaders, everybody that has anyone, to please come out now and appeal to our citizens. I mean, former President Obasanjo had spoken, our uncle Wole Soyinka had spoken, and I think it's just time for everybody to speak up and to able to calm the nerves so that we can get the youth and the protesters off the street completely, and some order and law can be restored permanently, that we all love so much, into the state that we all cherish, so much, so that we can begin to see how we will bring back our economy, working well for all of us. COVID, have just done a very big blow to us. We're just hoping that we'll not have a second wave of COVID, right? But what we're dealing with now, it's even almost bigger than COVID. So if we can come out stronger, bigger, out of COVID, this city shouldn't define us, shouldn't define what we are, who we are, and by extension, what we stand for. So it's a time for all of us, to hold ourselves, to hold our hands, and to say that we are brother's keeper, irrespective of, the condemnable, properties that we've seen that have been damaged, everybody in one form or the other. I think it's time for everybody to speak up and just, get, our youth off the street, and we put restraint everywhere so that we can pick the pieces together and we can move the state forward.
Well, I'd asked Mr. Governor about the level of cooperation that you are getting from the federal government. Okay,
other than security cooperation, so I think the chief of defense staff also called me yesterday to find out, what is happening on ground. Chief of army staff also called me and to say that if I indeed require for the military to come out, they will deploy them. But there used to be an operation OP Mensa, which they use with a police force. They said if that is not sufficient, they can bring out more security personnel, especially to forestall destruction of properties, very strong strategic federal government installations, right? And I said, yeah, why not? The airports need to be secured, the seaports need to be secured, all of the terminal buildings need to be secured, some of the public buildings need to be secured, right? And so that's a level of support, that and a few, cabinet members at the federal to call to find out what they can do. So it's really just been conversation around security support that we've got.
Well, following on from your reference to property damage, where we were sorry to see the personal loss that you suffered, and we hope that your family is okay. Can you quantify the losses to Lagos State government? And also in the area of private property, are there any plans in place for restitution regarding business owners and individuals that have had severe losses as a result of the mayhem?
Well, thank you, Tunu. So that will be a work in progress. Nobody has been able to go around to determine, what is the level, of destruction that we've seen. Apart from the pictures and the footage that we've all seen, there's not been any compendium, there's not been any reports that we can indeed use to ascertain or verify, what level of destruction. But from even the pictures that we've seen, we can clearly say that they're huge. They will run into very high numbers, into the billions, very unfortunately. And I want to honestly use this occasion to once again appeal, to our teeming youth that this is not who we are. This should not define what we stand for. Please, people should stay off the streets. People should restrain their youth from. There's so much pain amongst us right now. So these are all monetary things that we can work on later in the days and the weeks ahead. But truly, really, is for us to stop bloodshed. Is for us to stop any form of carnage, any form of killing, any form of, arson that can lead to loss of life, so really for me, let us stop, the loss of innocent citizens that know nothing, about what. And I think it's something that should concern everyone, every individual, all around the state. So for me, that would be my message now, right? And over the next 1 or 2 days, people will have the opportunity to go around and be able to do a proper inventory, of what losses we have on the state. I imagine it will be huge, coming out from a COVID, infected budget where, the state had to reduce the total budget for the state by over 22%, right? We're just coming out from a slow economic recovery. If not for what has happened, I was meant to be making a state of the state address. By now, we should be taking our budget for 2021 into the House of Assembly, and where we can roll out our plans, for developmental projects and be able to take our state to the next level post-COVID. But this incident is where we are now. There will be a big setback, but I believe that we'll come back stronger and bigger, resilient as a state.
Right. Thank you for that, Mr. Governor. I've got 2 questions. As this curfew continues, number 1 question I'd like to ask is, what is in place for people that are locked at home that couldn't stock up on food and the likes while all of this started? Because a lot of people will start running out of supplies very soon and they might have to get on the street. What's in place? And I also want to know what you'll do for job creation. All of this hoodlums and this mayhem is indicative of the fact that the youth need job, and there has to be massive, quick response to job creation and social well-being of people. What would you do? Just 2 questions, Mr. Governor.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So around on lifting the curfew, it's something that we're monitoring on an hourly basis, right? And once we see that there's normalcy, all around the state, it's a pronouncement we can make as early as tomorrow, to ease the lockdown, like you rightly said, so that people can even have a means, to stock up, to buy food and all of it. So we're actually tracking and monitoring what events will look like later today. Once we see that the streets are cleared up and people, all the very, very, agitations and high nerves-wrecking, issue that we see, once they go down, we might actually release or clamp down, or just slow down the curfew by tomorrow or next tomorrow at the latest, so that people can indeed get something to eat, and the state where and we want that's what we know our Lagos for, and that's what we need to quickly get our Lagos back into, right? And the second question around job creation, like you see, post-COVID, we've set out a whole lot of machinery as a state directly to be able to employ and take a lot of our youth. About 2 weeks ago, we had interventions direct, in our Lagos Employment Trust Fund, in the tourism sector, we set up what we call hubs, both fashion hubs, to be able to take our teeming youth, off the street. They are delivered in the 2021 budget and also in the revised 2020 budget to be able to take a lot more people, employed. At our state level, we might not have all of the wherewithal to employ so much. 4, 5, 10 people to be able to pick up those numbers, because those are the ones that are worst hit from February, March, when the COVID incident started. So part of the things that we're doing, we're giving soft loans, We're giving grants to small businesses. We're reducing their interest on the loans that we're giving to them. We're doing a lot of internship program. We just set up on our website, on Tuesday, so last week Thursday, on our website, an internship program to take about 4,000 kids, and we're putting them in placement in various organizations for the next 6 months, and the state government will be paying. So there's a plan that we have that will have taken or will have been able to attract about 20 to 30,000 direct, jobs creation for our kids, for our youth, in this month of in this month of October. But where we are now, we need to reset. We need to reset the button again and see how we're able to do all of these things going forward. But like I said, government in itself, it's not the full employer of labor. Government is an enabler for the private sector to truly really employ and to have the opportunity to bring kids into their employment. One of the things that we're able to get the real organized private sector to do, especially during the pandemic, was to have the conversations with them that no job losses. Yes, you might have reduced retained earnings in terms of your profitability, but I spoke to almost all the CEOs of our big blue chip companies, and they gave me the assurances that they will not retrench or reduce anybody from their employment. And that has been the case. And we did very happy and grateful for that. But our concern really are with the small businesses who are the employers of 4 people who do not have the shock, the ability to be able to retain the shock of the COVID era. So they're the ones that we're opening up these grants for. We've set up a scheme, set up a 5 billion, grant for small schools, small secondary schools and primary schools that are run by the private sector. People that couldn't get kids coming to pay for school fees and all of it. We set up that 5 billion grant. We set up a tourism grant for about in October, and before the end of the year that were rolled out. But we go back, right, and we do a reset button so that we can have an opportunity for a lot of these youths, to be off the street.
Well, Governor, 2 follow-up questions from what you said previously. One, you said that restoring law and order will require the input of almost every one of us because we are all members of the Lagos State community, which is a point that many people will understand. But many of these boys who are out there on the streets, wrecking havoc, who are on rampage, burning down buildings, they belong to communities. Is there a mechanism in place in Lagos State for engaging influence, talk to this from the federal government? You talked about a call from the Chief of Defense Staff when the boys were on rampage, targeting iconic buildings, burning down police stations, burning down BRT terminals. We practically did not see any security group out there trying to check them. And even as at this morning, the boys are at various points, roundabouts, still extorting money from people and threatening innocent passers-by. At what point will Lagosians see that security support and be sure that they are safe?
And our city of engaging with them. On Monday, actually, I had several levels of stakeholder engagement. We have influencers, a virtual meeting with about 8. This was on Monday of where we are. So these are the people that I'm still making my calls to. These are the set of people that have followership, that have people that listen to them. They're the ones that I'm calling out to also make out these calls and be able to pull this youth and the protesters out of the street. You know, I mean, now they look more around hoodlums and all of it. So it's all space of influence. Please go out, speak.
Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time or first day of coming across my YouTube channel or seeing my face, you are highly welcome. Please leave comments to my canal. My name is Linda Chukwuezi. It's coming as Nigerian. That red button that says subscribe, and you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be able to get information on the.
Bis zum nächsten Video und einen schönen Tag. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis man subscribe to Linda's TV show. What are you waiting for? Click on that red button that says subscribe. You turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Leave your comment down below and share this video with your friends, families, and colleagues until we meet again in my next video. Bye bye.